When you see Candace Owens accusing Elon and Peter Thiel and Sam Altman of being human hybrids.
Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid.
A hybrid of some critter.
Yeah. I mean, like people are like going lizard people. Is it alien? Is it demon? They're part demon, part human. They're Nephilim. Like I believe in Nephilim. I believe Genesis 6, but it's like, listen, my worldview allows for this.
And I still think you're nuts.
But you're out of your mind.
Met a ghost of a king on the road when I first fell. Fire burning to my knees I fell. Met a ghost of a king on the road.
Huge congratulations to us. It is episode 201. I miscounted last week when I said it was not episode 200. It was episode 200. So we're celebrating 201.
Do that in Roman numerals.
Oh boy, that one's
pretty easy.
CCI.
2C.
Yeah, you have an aversion to doing Latin things correctly. I do know that about you.
I do.
I know the nerd in me is like, oh, I can do the Roman numerals correctly. CCI.
CCI. Welcome to episode CCI.
Yeah. Okay. Here
Carve
we are.
it into a pillar.
Yeah.
201.
Dude, there are people who bet against us getting to episode 201.
Fools.
And look at us laughing now.
Ha.
Yeah. Okay.
I laugh.
What I do have, speaking of laughter, is a couple pitches before we move into our topic for today. These are new pitches.
New ones.
Fresh ones.
Fresh. I will sip my latte and listen.
So we'll see.
Okay.
People keep saying you guys are really mean about these.
Are we?
And I think people need to know that. They also need to remember that I don't know if it is your child that submitted the pitch or you or what. We don't keep names on these. So normally we'd be super nice, but since there's no names on these,
Normally we would be nice, and by nice we would be evasive, and I wouldn't look at your pitch so that I wouldn't have to say something that would hurt your feelings, because I value your feelings. But when you have anonymity and here's just a pitch standing on its own, and you have the cold reaction.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So
next
we have
week,
3 of these?
Next week, yeah, we'll see how many we get through. Next week, I'll try bringing in some real ones as well that have made it through. Not necessarily ours, but just the broader process, and see if that helps perhaps.
Okay. So do you want to read the first one?
Yep. Sure. Plagued by fear and sudden fainting spells after escaping their home in a burning cathedral of Eastern Europe, Papa Mouse makes a long journey with his family to a city suburb in Kansas where they hope to live in peace. Instead of peace, Papa Mouse finds himself in a neighborhood ruled by a rat named King Bender. Tormented by stray cats and ravaged by wicked field mice, when unable to bring home food because of his fear-induced fainting, he makes plans to flee again. But before they can, his wife and baby are captured by King Bender. Papa Mouse must overcome his fear to rescue his family. He finds an unlikely ally in a neighborhood cat who tells him King Bender is a usurper, and soon the true king of the land will return to restore order. Papa Mouse overcomes his fear, rescues his family from King Bender, but must again leave his family to join a neighborhood war when the true king returns. After the war is won, Papa Mouse is made steward of the neighborhood once ruled by King Bender.
Well, the good news is they got a lot in there.
Specifics.
Yeah, it's specific movements, and I don't like Papa Mouse.
Yeah, the dad who's plagued by fear and fainting spells.
Wussy father. But in what ways is this not American Tail?
No, I was going to say this is every way in which this is not American Tail, you see why American Tail is better. So the fact that American Tail is about Fievel, the kid, who then must team up with the cat that doesn't work out to defeat the evil King Rat. I sometimes wonder if our SASF audience is adapting stories that have worked to try to trick us. They'll be like, haha, you said this wouldn't work, but look, it became a beloved classic.
Well, which of the past bitches would possibly qualify?
I think this one is what I'm saying.
This is the one.
This is the one where we change the age of the protagonist, which is a giant change.
So, cathedral mice fleeing to Kansas. That's quite a flee, first off, logistically.
Yep.
So, okay, it's easier to get to California. It's easier to get to San Francisco, the East Coast or the West Coast, because you're fleeing Europe, so you're on a boat.
Yeah.
But then you land somewhere. Why Kansas? Why'd they keep going all the way to Kansas? That's one question. So I think San Francisco or Nolans.
Yeah.
If you were in Nolans, suddenly everything kind of changes a little bit from American Tail. Mm-hmm. Obviously, American Tail is based on
New York.
But Jewish migration and the Jews being pushed out and fleeing. This is based on a Christian being pushed out and a rat king, Papa Mouse having to stand up and do good things. I'd say, yes, I don't like the fourth act, which would be he must once again leave his family to join a neighborhood war after already,
That's like trying to squeeze in Fievel Goes West at the end of an American Tail real quick.
So let's do Act 4. I would skip Act 4. However, I would look at this and just say, you want to make sure this is not American Tail. Steer clear of American Tail. But those things which worked about American Tail, you can steal the architecture.
But isn't it true that
just not the decor?
Yeah, and it can't be about the dad, right? I mean, if
it could be.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like adult
because
focused.
we fundamentally treat talking animal characters as children.
Sure. Okay.
Because that actually is kind of how they get handled. Mm-hmm. Then they're very immature and they get pushed around that way. So we treat them like young adults. So we
don't mind Bernard from Rescuers.
No.
Even though he's an adult.
So all male. The red wall, there's so much where we Reepicheep, the bulgy bears, there's all these adult talking animals that get treated like children. They get a little patronized. Mm-hmm. So it's possible for Papa Mouse, even though I would not call him Papa Mouse, it's possible for an adult, father mouse to be the main character.
Yeah.
But that will be less relatable than if you're following his son.
Yeah.
And Papa Mouse might be fearful and the son is trying to navigate that relationship, that dynamic, and learning to be courageous, but also learning not to just disrespect and dishonor his father despite that, but helping his father stand up as well. You could do that story. You can do versions of this, but this is just a refugee story where you go to another land, you escape the frying pan, you go into the fire. It's an old story. So the biggest thing here would just be to make sure that you actually do have a 3-act structure, that you don't have a little flightless wing on at the end. And to make sure that you avoid all
pinky toe.
Yeah. You make sure you avoid all the decor of American Tail.
Nice.
So if you can get away from that, then sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think also the fact that American Tail sets up so nicely on the American dream with like, there's no cats in America and then the cats follow them over like that.
It's like, oh, there are cats in America.
Yeah. It fits really well into the swath of history.
Yeah. American Tail is good.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to read the next one or you?
Do it.
The Detective and His Two Shadows, middle grade. A smart orphan boy and his even smarter little sister spend their free time shadowing a detective and dropping anonymous hints to help him solve his cases. All is fun and games until they begin to detect signs of something big and sinister lurking behind the everyday crimes they help to solve, and the detective's sudden success makes him a target. Only they know enough to save him, but trying to do so will expose themselves to an evil stronger and more dangerous than they can yet imagine. Unfortunately, we've got back to vagaries.
Yeah.
The specifics of what kind of hints could they help solve that Sherlock could not?
I would also say here, a smart orphan boy, but his smarter little sister. I mean, they can be equally smart. They could both be smart. I wouldn't want to set either one of them up as dumber or smarter. I'd want that to be kind of a running gag. And
is that because why? Is that kind of a sort of an annoying dynamic when?
Well, it's going to be annoying, but you're going to end up with opportunity unless you want this to be a betrayal story. So if you plant that seed right there, you're going to set up sibling tension, and the little sister that he has to protect, who's actually more intelligent than he is, and especially it just sets up lots of mouthy subversion, and his hands are tied. It's kind of like a girl attacking a guy and he can't fight back. Yeah. It's sort of like if she's the one who has to be protected, but she is subversive to his authority and strength, by definition, then that just creates a kind of story that if that's what you want to tell.
So you're saying by doing that, this becomes kind of an unpleasant arc. But if they're both equally smart, helping each other out,
or are smarter than each other in different situations.
Right. One's very good.
There's
at this
times when
thing,
she sees it and she's right, and he sees it and he's right.
Then you get the hijinks of detective.
Yeah,
Sherlock Holmes
and they
for
have to learn
kids.
to trust each other and each other's instincts and all that kind of stuff. But the problem here is that a sassy little smart sister can be really funny, but maintaining it is difficult. How do we prove that she's smarter? The inclusion of the fact that she's smarter means there's going to be multiple times,
Where
and in
he
fact,
gets
a
dunked
recurring
on.
theme
Yeah.
where he is wrong and she is right, and that's going to be a theme of the story. And that's kind of unwieldy, unpleasant. And while he's the older brother, he has to be the protector. But because she's smarter, he has to follow her orders and her read on situations. Anyway, it's just a mess. And it will be the entirety of the story.
Yeah.
So
Are they trying to do something like, is that dynamic basically what makes Castle work? I mean, Castle has a similar dynamic, right? With the mystery writer and the very procedural detective, but the writer is able to see connections because he's creative. Did you ever read Basil Street Irregulars? Which is basically about all these orphan kids who help out Sherlock Holmes. It's Sherlock Holmes fan fiction.
Yeah. I'm aware of it. I've not read it. And the thing is that I look at this and I think basically if they're rugrats, if these guys are street urchins and they happen to have access, they have access to things and they are not feared by people. And so they get to see things. It's not that they're just way better at puzzles than this guy. It's that they have access and they have the ability to put their access into words and send letters, and they're kind of these anonymous snitches that no one fears because they're little and nobody knows that they're that intelligent. You could have fun with that, but you're going to have fun with that in a pretty limited way. There's going to be a singular bad guy, his organization. It could be his organization, his gang, and these two are determined to take him out.
Yeah, he rules their neighborhood.
And they're gonna take him out because of what happened to their mom, what happened to their dad, whatever it is. There's gonna be a personal reason why they're gonna try to establish justice in this area. They could be sneaky, funny, able to mask their intelligence, and they could be basically pranking the criminals and, really undermining this whole criminal organization by going to the detective. And then the question is, which detective? What's his story? Why doesn't he have a grip on this? If you have a crime organization, then some of the detectives are on their payroll. It's going to be them against, I would say, a criminal organization, a corrupt law enforcement operation, trying to find who's the good man. So trying to find the good man who can put a stop to this. Could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
It also could be totally cornball.
Yeah.
So
nice.
But it could be fun, but I really, really do not care for, I cannot overstate how much I don't care for the smart orphan boy and his smarter little sister. Just because of the way in which you rub your socks in the carpet and then touch things is where the spark jumps, right? So whatever you touch is where the spark's going to jump. And if you have brother and sister and you set that tension up, that particular tension, then you're going to have lots of static charge and lots of spark jumping in places I just don't think are fun to explore and will undermine the overall story that you're trying to tell.
That's good.
So little sister could think she's smarter.
Lots of little
That gives her an arc.
Yeah.
It's like you got to give them both an arc, but this one is set up for unpleasantness.
Yeah. And then the mastermind versus detective is separated from their character. So you're saying making it someone related to them as opposed to like Sherlock Moriarty.
Yeah. They're not arbitrarily fan kidding after a random detective helping them solve cases because they're smarter.
Right.
They have access to the underbelly of their own neighborhood and can get away with spying and informing and all that kind of stuff.
And have a reason to do
which
that.
is kind of a Sherlock device.
Yeah, it is.
Where he
always uses.
He has his network of urchins.
Also mice, depending on which version he uses mice.
So anyway, I think that if they have an enemy and they have a tyranny and an oppression in their town, which has cost them their parents, then they're stuck here. They're either going to leave or they're going to stay and fight, and they're staying and fighting. The way they're doing this is by strategic snitching, masking the fact of their their childhood in their letters and in their snitching.
Yeah.
And then of course you have you have a twist of a bad detective. You've got other things to play with.
Them finally getting caught, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And then they have to find some kind of adult. I would say they have to find probably 2 different adult characters to trust, and shockingly one's going to be female and one's going to be male, and they're going to end up together and they're all going to move west. So there we go.
Boom. That's a wrap. Last one. On the rolling hills of northernmost Carolina, an adventurous young man finds himself stumbling down a steep burrow beneath the burn pile in his family's backyard. As he closes his eyes to submit to the unknown clutches of death, he finds himself sitting on the largest cache of gold he's ever seen. Titus is a 13-year-old boy in a tightly knit family of 7. He finds a cache of gold from the 1800s in his backyard, but he is pained to find out that he was unknowingly followed by his 2 younger sisters, Michaela and Angel, who swear to keep his big secret as long as they can each get a piece of the prize. Titus reluctantly agrees to include Mac and Angie in his find after his threat attempts on them fail to succeed.
He'd also just say fail.
Just fail. Fail to succeed. They counteract his threat with one of their own, saying if he does not comply to their demands, they'll tattle on him with the nearest adult. Titus has a closer relationship with Michaela, the older of the 2 girls, and they end up putting their differences aside to create an alliance against Angel, who is less mature and has severe anger issues. The group of 3 are left at a standoff until they can find a gullible adult stand-in to help them get rich, or until one of the 3 betrays the others. At the end of the day, the siblings are left with the painstaking choice that will ultimately cost them either the gold or their friendship. Who will do the right thing, and who will let the gold change them for the worse?
Well, we had to have one that was just like a non-starter.
Yeah.
So
2 out of 3 is not bad, though, for our pitches.
Well, I mean, the first one is American Tail. I'm doing it not American Tail. The second one,
you did change a fair amount.
A little bit. This one, there's a burn pile. He falls down through a hole under the burn pile and lands on a cache of gold. Now, some of this feels a little AI. It's just a little over wordy, but then things like cache of gold make it seem human, because cache of gold is CACHE, not SH.
Also,
nobody fights. I have been a boy with 2 sisters looking for treasure. Doing it in community, doing it with your friends, with your siblings is actually kind of awesome. And the point.
It's way more fun.
It's way more fun to find pirate gold with a friend or with your sisters than it is to do it by yourself. This is just not believable.
Yeah, they say it's a tightly knit family, but then they immediately turn on each other. And
family of 7.
They try to betray each other.
I assume
to bits.
That's 5 kids and 2 parents. And then 3 of them go into a death match over the gold.
And 2 of them are doing nothing.
Yeah, 2 of them are just there, and mom and dad are not relevant. And just finding gold like this.
Yeah. It's
like, okay, he accidentally finds gold, then he fights with his sisters about it in a prolonged way until they all decide whether they...
And none of them take action.
Yeah, and they're going to be cursed.
It sounds to me like a morality tale of why you should not want to win the lottery.
Yeah, I honestly... I mean, I would have to change almost everything except for the fact that there's a kid who finds gold. So a kid finds gold. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Whose gold? Who else is looking for the gold?
Right.
Where are the pressures of finding this gold? What's it going to do? When's he going to tell his dad? Why does he have a terrible relationship with his dad? Or if he doesn't, if he's not telling his dad, it's a terrible relationship.
Who's the bad guy? There's no antagonist in this. The choice is between the gold and their friendship, which is a pretty easy choice.
So anyway, I could say insulting things. I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
Pieces of it are overworded.
Well, also just
and that's the part that feels so. Saying things like "fail to succeed" is kind of like an AI way to say something instead of just fail. That's what fail means, is failing to succeed. There's extra wordiness, but then it's all just relational.
Yep.
And it feels to me I could be way off. But this is the kind of thing that feels to me like the idea for a story that a mom is coming up with to try to help her kids get along better. You know, it's like this. It feels
Is
like
this propaganda?
This feels like maternal propaganda.
Did they send us propaganda?
But it feels that way. It doesn't mean that that is in fact the case. But like in terms of like, oh, they're gonna all learn about how to get along and not be greedy for the Saturday morning donuts or whatever it is, but by means of this gold. And if I would just say, if you're gonna do a story for your kids, most importantly, make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it fun. So.
I mean, if this is Confederate gold, then that takes us a particular way. If this is
there
Viking
are villains
gold,
hot on the trail for this gold, why is it hidden here? Why on earth is it under the burn pile?
Yeah, is
the
it old
outlaws
pirate
just rode
treasure?
through. Is this freshly hidden gold? Like there's got to be dangerous people who want this gold. There's a lot of fun here. If you're going to tell a story to your kids, realizing that you're saying, I'm going to serve them an amazing meal. I'm going to serve them their favorite food. I'm going to give them ice cream. Don't think about how you're going to sneak all the vitamins into the ice cream. Give them the ice cream. Don't think about how you're going to, put a lot of supplements and things into their favorite lasagna. Just give them their favorite lasagna. Do it, and know that if you are writing the story along the guidelines of truth, beauty, and goodness, it will reinforce positive things. It'll make them stronger. It'll make their imagination stronger. Just feed the imagination, and that means villains. And that means friendship across siblings is actually really fun and aspirational.
Yeah.
I think writing a really positive vision of siblings who are, I think in a little pack together.
Two little sisters named Mac and Angie is enjoyable. We can know.
So anyway, there you go.
Boom.
Don't do that one. Change it.
Not yet famous.
Not yet famous. And I also, some father out there is just feeling insulted. I told him this feels like a
maternal propaganda.
This feels like a piece of maternal propaganda for somebody who's trying to get their kids to get along better. It does. That's what it feels like. Whether or not that's the case,
I think it has to be female because of all of the description of the relationship was. It has to be just like she hates him and he hates her. And
few tangible details, much relational drama. And then Mr. Bingley.
Yeah. That could be done very well at a different level.
Mr. Bingley's pirate treasure.
Oh. Okay, good. Now off to our topic du jour.
Soup of the day.
One of our most popular current environmental storytelling, is the fabrication of conspiracy theories. And I think it's worth talking about how conspiracy theories are not soul food.
No, they are not.
But also not in not in a school marmy type of way. I feel like the left is constantly scolding us for telling conspiracy theories. I see newspaper articles about the rise of conspiracy theories among the right.
I would say the rise of conspiracy theories among the bots on social media.
So this could just be, don't do what the robots do.
Stop giving the robots access to your veins. I mean, it's the hunt for clicks, likes, shares, views. That quest is wildly destructive, especially when the audience can be entirely easily faked and controlled. So you think you have a crowd of 100,000 cheering. You do not.
Yeah.
You have very, very select few, and then a bunch of synthetic. And honestly, we are in a place of the wild destabilization of epistemology. So it's
how we know what is true and all of that.
And so the nature of epistemology, how you know what you know philosophically, ultimately, we've been a lot more comfortable knowing what we know on faith. And we know it on faith. We have presuppositions that are faith axioms. They're axiomatic. We've taken them on faith. And in the past generations, the moo cows, the herd animals, have been easily steered by mainstream media, easily steered by, a couple networks, a couple broadcast networks, and whatever Cronkite was saying was gold. You could just trust it.
Yeah, my grandpa, Paul Harvey. He was getting his update from Paul Harvey at lunchtime every day.
And so there was this faith relationship with the fourth estate, journalists, and that has just gone. And that has gone rightly. They lost it. Same things happened with the scientific establishment. And they began to lose that. They began to lose that with evolution, and then more recently with climate change, and then COVID snapped it. And so when they've been
the trans stuff is just the trans stuff is in there
too.
All off. Yeah.
So abortion, trans, COVID, and then you go all the way back to atheistic Darwinism, and it's been so abusive.
The Scopes monkey trials to start.
the relationship has been abusive for a long time, and has been diluted. The white coats, the priesthood of modernism, the priests wear those white coats and they flex. No, it is very interesting to be sitting here where we are, where suddenly the people who are freaking out, kind of like what I mean by this, the people who are just rising and falling on the waves of conspiracy, like, oh no, Candace Owens this, and down here, and oh, the Jews, and all this stuff. Those people, all they're doing is revealing that their faith was never in God. Their faith was in the human infrastructure, which is where their faith never should have been. So you should have had your faith on an absolute bedrock of truth established by God, and you can trust him that he knows what he's doing with the world, because you've listened to Solomon and you've read Job, and he says, go look at the animals and then come back and worry. It's like, and Job, in his argument to his friends who are all counseling him badly, he tells them, like, go look at the birds, go look at the fish, go look at the hills, go look at the bushes. Do not all of these know that it was the Lord who did it? Like, they all point at God. They all trust God. And the tumult of that narrative, like, that's quite a conspiracy. Now, imagine that his friends, instead of just saying, you must have done something wrong, that's a pretty minor conspiracy.
Oh, Job's friends. Gotcha. Yep.
Job's friends have that. And instead of just saying, Job, you did something wrong, they actually like, you know what? I bet the devil went into the throne room of God and made a bet.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what happened. That's a way more conspiratorial situation.
Yeah.
And Job just trusts God. What God wants for him, he's willing to accept. And so he is at peace. His wife isn't. His friends aren't. He would be at peace with, that knowledge. He would be okay. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. That is where he is. So when they're saying, you must have done something wrong and this is all falling on you because of justice, he is saying, actually, God is ultimately in authority. The Lord does this. He's the one who blessed me. He's the one taking this from me. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So this is God's story, and I'm at peace in my relationship with God. When you see people who lose their minds, literally, over Reels and TikToks.
Yeah.
Like, Job was losing everything. Job was experiencing wild persecution and wild demonic persecution. And he is at peace because he trusts God. And then you go watch people today, well, they're all over the place. And Charlie Kirk and Housewives who are rewatching a snuff film over and over and over again, watching the blood, watching this murder, thinking that they somehow are going to be able to get to the truth instead of knowing that not one sparrow falls apart from God. You don't know who killed him, and you don't need to know who killed him. It's not your homework. You know that this is part of God's story, and you can trust God to use this for good. And you can pray for his widow, and you can pray for his kids, and you can thank God for Charlie Kirk. And you do not have to solve the murder, especially not by corrupting your own imagination, poring over these murder films.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just...
So you're saying the start of heading into this conspiracy conversation has to be, am I on an emotional roller coaster or am I on bedrock?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the test. And once you're there...
Does the government lie to us? Of course.
Yeah.
Which government hasn't?
Yeah.
It doesn't rock me. So if you are in a place where you feel rocked by corruption in the government, you feel rocked by corruption in the medical establishment, any of that tells you where you were putting too much of your weight. You're putting too much of your weight, not on the bedrock of God's ultimate control and God's sovereignty and his purpose. You're putting it on human infrastructure. And so when Here's a tragic example. During COVID, when Aaron Wrench and I were running speakeasy basketball tournaments out of our gym every weekend, and every weekend the sheriff got called, and
The prohibition.
yeah, during the prohibition of getting together, we were the only ones, and really in the country that we know of, who were running basketball tournaments through the entirety of the shutdowns from week one. Like it was, even the boldest churches, let's just say, flinched more than our basketball tournaments did. So like the first weekend, basically, we were running these illegal basketball tournaments and we just kept on going. And we had coaches, we had NBA coaches, we had massive top 10 program coaches showing up. We were streaming these games to coaches around the country to enable them to offer kids during this dead time when all of AAU was dead. You know, we were kind of the speakeasy spot. And every now and then journalists lost their minds and were trying to expose us. These crazy lunatics in Idaho and whatever.
Does sound like conspiracy.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're doing that, right? And we're rolling with this kind of stuff. And when we're trying to push against this, like we were not freaking out at all. And we start getting calls from coaches who want to rent the gym. And we're the only ones who are doing this and allowing them in, but we are booked. And so there's a coach, a cheerleading coach, national championship level coach calling, begging to be able to bring her team to our gym and actually work out together. And we were like, we really can't. We're booked up with tournaments. And she told us that she had 3 suicides on her team.
Oh, no.
Already 3. And you're like, oh man, that's horrible. And there's a bunch of others too. There's, football player suicides and all these high school athletes. And she had 3 cheerleader suicides because nationals was canceled. Like it was everything they'd been working towards was just yanked away from them. Now, the 2 things this tells you, one is this is tragic and our government was awful. And that's a tiny glimpse anecdotally of how much bloodshed there was through all the shutdowns and all the damage that continues to this day. But the other thing it tells you is that their bedrock was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So when you lose something you love, it's a grief. But if you are suicidal, if you're actually like that shaken up, if you decide to stop trusting other people that you know personally, and you have no reason to mistrust them. They've only ever told you the truth, but now you just don't trust anybody because the AMA lied to you. And so now you won't listen to your pastor. You're not standing in the right place.
Yeah.
You're a human character. You exist in a relationship. Not everything is your homework. Not everything is your assignment. You do have to trust agents, other agent characters that God puts in your life. You cannot function without it. You will go insane if you try to be just one singular atom in relationship only to God and to no other part of his creation. Like it just doesn't work like that.
I think that's the thing, that idolatry right there when it gets rocked. It's interesting to watch kind of over the course of modernity. We untethered truth, correspondence to reality. That was the first thing that kind of got cut off of like, hey, things don't have to connect with reality anymore. And then, of course, postmodernism and flipping that on its head. And now truth isn't even related to any sort of reality at all. And it feels like that's what you're talking about. We're in a post-truth sort of situation where people are thinking, I can just say whatever I want and kind of make it.
And then stick to my guns.
So, and then because you get paid off of interaction. Yeah. It seems like
because the more your interaction is on social media, especially, the more money you're going to make, the more dopamine you're going to get.
Yeah.
So people are just leaning in on that. And this is I think it's like a black swan event where you take the complete lack of credibility of the establishment, pair it with the invention of AI, and wildly these people, so many idiots, I'm sorry, you're idiots if you're big fans of AI, have nowhere to put their faith. The establishment just lost it. And so it's just going on to this AI thing. Like their faith is in AI. Now the AI will save us or whatever, but that's happening. So at the same time that you literally cannot believe your eyes on social media, that you boomers, Gen Xers, and a lot of others are just being fooled like 7 times a day. Every time you look at social media, it's fake video. It's fake outrage. It's fake everything.
The comments and interaction numbers are all fake.
And the comments and interaction are bots. It's fake too. This whole fake ecosystem of perpetual fakeitude. And you are just now dealing with your massive disillusionment in, the authority figures, the ones with credentials have lost all your trust and they lost all your trust. It's their fault. And
for good reason.
Yeah. And then you're careening over here saying, well, at least I can believe my eyes as you look at Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot now. So the correlation of that means there's this place where people are just kind of totally adrift in what to believe, where to believe, and what their freaking job is.
Yeah.
So do your kids need lunch today? Well, I don't know. What if the Jews are doing something bad somewhere? Like, no, your kids need lunch. Shut up. Stop trying to control things like as if you have the job description of the Archangel Michael. Stop thinking that this is in any way your job and do your damn job. You do know what your job is in front of you. You can honor God in your relationships, but what on earth with trying to solve anything on the other side of the world based on little clips of things you see on your phone in this age of absolute fakeitude?
Yeah. So are you saying we should be ostriches, Nate, with our head in the sand?
Clearly.
I think that's what people feel. You're just saying that's an absurd responsibility to place upon yourself, that you now have to figure out who actually killed Charlie Kirk.
You are not a judge in Israel. You are not a prophet. You are not a king who's been given this. You are not, some people are the magistrate who've been given the power of the sword. There are detectives and there are people whose job this is.
Yeah.
Yes, says a housewife, but I don't trust them.
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't need your trust in order for this to be their job. It's still their job, whether or not you trust them.
And that gets back to your first point. Who do you trust? Are you sure you've got the trust put in the right spot, or are you being messed up?
So let's assume that everything's crazy, everything's conspiracy. It's all insane. Who's in charge? God. Is he screwing up? No. This is his story, and he will show us parts of it that he wants us to see. So when you're walking through the insane asylum wondering who to trust, there's no one that you can trust in the insane asylum. And we're in that moment. And so you have to focus on your relationship with God. And then you have to, when you start placing faith in people around you, others around you, you also have to do that while trusting God. So do that prayerfully, and you're trusting RFK about Red 40. Okay, you don't know anything about Red 40. No, but I saw something on the internet. You don't know anything.
What if you read the study
about Tylenol? You don't know anything. Now, there are, of course, exceptions. But if you were saying, but I'm actually going to trust RFK Jr. because he did tell me the truth about this other thing here. Sure. Okay. So trust him now. But don't get your world rocked when it turns out that he lied too. Or not that he lied, but he was wrong. Like when he's wrong about something, only one person is not wrong about anything. Have a relationship with him. Like that's it. So the bedrock of faith and your relationship to God is essential. And then realize that it is not your job to solve Russia, Ukraine. It is Trump's. He's trying. But it's not yours. And Trump would have to be the biggest failure in the world to tell everybody the total and complete truth about what's going on there. Because his job is to try to deal with it and solve it, not to try to just tell everybody about it, every single thing about it. So he has to be able to operate out of sight, and operating out of sight does not mean corruption. It can.
Sure. And there's been plenty of that.
But it doesn't mean that. So yeah, there was tons of corruption in previous administrations. And I'm sure there's corruption in Trump's administration, because everywhere where there's power, people are working angles and trying to, get more money for themselves.
That was kind of what I was wanting to talk to you about and discuss, like how much you're setting yourself up to be lied to when you chase the newest story. Like that, it feels to me what I see people ready to be spun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
No, they're just little rats just eager for the music of the Pied Piper. Just
right, because it's like instead of doing your job and being calm,
yeah.
and then occasionally something will bump where you'd be like, wow, actually, hey, look, did you know the CIA was experimenting with LSD on people without telling them about it? You know, like you're just like, who cares? Does
It's
that
also
affect
like
me?
par for the course.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
mean-
but that doesn't like mess my daily duty up.
It doesn't change my job at all.
Right.
It
You're
doesn't.
like, yeah,
it doesn't,
MK Ultra is real. You know, like
Yeah.
so.
So what? It's just kind of it's kind of bizarre to me.
But if you're out there with that sort of like, I don't know what it is. It feels like they've got their dowsing rods out there, just
Yeah.
like casting around for any scent of
There's water witching.
something wrong. And then they're just like, whoa. And then they lurch after it. And you're down like a internet rabbit hole of
So it was like the way this works is like free association.
Yeah.
And so if you have people who right now they're like, you know what? In the past, we've had all the constellations named and we've gone with the constellations of previous civilizations. But you know what? We're going to rename all of them. And you've got a bunch of people pushing on their eyeballs really hard and then staring at the stars and trying to see new designs and patterns for the first time ever. Finally, we have the truth. It's not a Big Dipper. It's a toilet. You know, and then they point out the dots. And the fact is, there's a great, actually kind of not a great show, has great moments, but Norseman, this comic Viking show, probably has filters, definitely needs filters. But
so
this,
comic in a different sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And these Vikings are on a ship and there's this Viking looking up at the stars and he says, you see that star? I call that one the dot because it looks like a dot. And I was like, just great. But if you start trying to re-envision the constellations, all of us realize you get a star app or something, you're like, there's the Big Dipper, it's Ursa Major. And you look at the stars and then you look at the shape of the bear and you're like, how is that a bear?
Yeah, it's got a tail.
How is
tail.
Orion? How is any of this? Like how does it go? Except for the Dipper, it looks like a ladle, like I got it.
Mm-hmm.
The Southern Cross, like, okay, it's a cross. But there's all this imagination and construction and history with it. And then now people push on their eyes and they see the dots and they're creating their own things and then posting it online. And it's like,
Yeah.
coincidence? I think not.
Well, if you push your own eyes hard enough, you see additional stars.
Exactly. That's my point.
That's all
So
you're saying.
you're
Just
adding
sparkling.
all the extra dots to connect. But it's, there was somebody who was saying that we were connected to the murder of Charlie Kirk because my brother-in-law was in Israel like 2 weeks before Charlie was killed.
Oh, really?
And then we made a $10 million offer to buy CT. So where'd that money come from, huh? Like, obviously, Israel was paying us to help murder Charlie. And it's, what?
Yeah.
You're like, but there are dots. Connect the dots.
You can connect
You can
any
connect
two dots.
the dots. I can connect the dots.
Yeah, that's Euclid, I think.
Yeah, and it's really, really random. But when people start trying to do things way outside their skill set, way outside their authority, and they love to do it because they're getting all sorts of little chemistry in their brain, like they're vaping or smoking. So they get all agitated and they love being agitated and they love being like, whoa, new revelation, twist, etc. Instead of doing their actual work. Which is loving God, loving their people, and trying to honor God with everything they do throughout the day. They're just like doom scrolling
Yeah.
down a pretty demonic rabbit hole. And in terms of crowd hysteria, like there's obviously a kind of insanity and hysteria that has a demonic tone to it. And it's all over the place right now.
Yeah.
And so when you see Candace Owens accusing Elon and Peter Thiel and Sam Altman of being human hybrids, not even being fully human.
I don't even think these people are human. Like I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed, I'm not going to stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out.
Wait, a hybrid of some critter?
Yeah. I mean, like people are like going lizard people. Is it alien? Is it demon? They're part demon, part human. They're Nephilim. Like I believe in Nephilim. I believe Genesis 6, but it's
Even yeah,
like, listen, my worldview allows for this.
and I still think you're nuts.
But you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And one of the things that you can do when you're deciding who to trust, and then you just have to realize you have to trust and function. You don't get to sit on the throne of God and adjudicate everything like this. It's not your job. You don't get to sit on the throne of God and say, I'm not yet convinced of that theory. Like, you can walk away and say, this is not my job. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I'm going to go do my job, and I'm going to remain emotionally stable and untethered from this like tumult on this artificial system of social media. I'm just going to disconnect myself completely from all that emotional swing that goes on over there.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't have to worry about who's a bot and who's not a bot. I'm not going to get any dopamine from that at all. So if you disassociate, that's great, but you still have to believe some people.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage you to believe the ones who told you the truth last time. It's like, so what do we have? We have a bunch of people who just lied to us about COVID, and a bunch of people who wussed out and went with the liars. If you are in a church that placated the state instead of defending the sheep, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I have an emotional connection with this guy. It's like, well, you can go chase Candace Owen reels and like have all your weird conspiratorialness over there, but this leadership betrayed you.
Yeah.
If your kids are in a school or in a co-op where there's a soft feminization, where there's been some wokeness, where there were compromises at all on those issues, you know the truth and you saw the compromises, get out. Like, just get out. They can't be trusted. Like, they just cannot be. And don't worry about what may or may not be happening in Gaza, because you don't know. And you can't know, and it's not your job, and God will judge, and he's telling the story he's telling. Don't worry about that part. Worry about your life. So
I think
the people who told you the truth about the vaccines, the people who told you the truth about COVID, you can give them some credit, and you can listen to them next time. Right. Will they always tell you the truth? No, they're not God.
Yeah.
Some of them will do their best. Some of them won't.
I think the trans madness is another one of those. Exactly. It's like an easy tell of just like, wait, you told me love is love. I don't listen to you anymore.
Yep.
Like that rabbit hole.
If somebody says to you, for example, some rhino is like that they support abortion in the case of rape. What that shows you is they actually don't have principles. So you can vote for them, but don't expect them to have principles.
Yeah.
It's like they're not a principled thinker at all. So what you see Trump doing with IVF, he's not a principled dude. Like, he is very much a pragmatist and trying to, get his way. Okay, expect that. Don't go through a massive like meltdown betrayal when he does something that's bad, because I had all my hopes in him. It's like, no, your hope is in God. Period. Trump is part of his story.
I think we cannot forget to. I was looking into the original lizard people myth. Apparently, one of the first popularized was some guy named David Icke, who and they're all guys who are trying to get a start in media.
Yeah,
and that's what you're saying is, how are the people you're talking to? Do they benefit from having you worked up and watching all the things they ever posted?
Always.
Because your pastor doesn't necessarily, your local pastor doesn't necessarily. Your dad isn't the kind of person who's like, I'm going to tell you something that gets you down this rabbit hole. You're just going to chase and chase and chase that benefits my pocketbook. I don't know. It does seem to me that there's kind of that moment of, wait, who are you asking? The answer to this huge question. Who are you asking if Peter Thiel is a lizard man?
Yep.
You're asking someone whose whole livelihood and entire, from both their pride down to their pocketbook, is benefited by you
clicking,
listening to
following,
them.
listening, finishing the reel,
and
doom scrolling to the next one. I actually had I have a mutual friend, one of several, of Candace Owens, and long-term friend of hers, who told me basically she's lost her mind completely, literally. Like, there's a literal unhinged, and no idea where this is going or how this ends, but this ends in an explosion. This is a firework, going, and then when this week or last week, she starts talking about human hybrids right now, that Elon Musk is a human hybrid. And a bunch of people are like, okay. So a bunch of people have been following after her, suddenly realized maybe I shouldn't have been listening as much to what she just said last week. And I've seen a bunch of other people saying this is so terrible that she did this because now people aren't going to believe what she said last week. So what last week was just the first part of the crazy. And now we see the fruit on the crazy tree, and you can now really tell. So when somebody lies to you about something that you're smart enough to know better, or you had firsthand experience, don't trust them about the next thing. So when you read a newspaper or you read a Twitter account or you see anything where something you know about, actually, they're saying something wildly false, don't go believe them about anything else. Like the one place where you can check their work, they're really bad. And so don't then believe the next 8 or 9 things. Just assume this is a bad source. People used to do that with newspapers. You read the story that it's about you or your church or your school, and you're like, this is wrong, this is wrong. They got all the quotes wrong. Why are they so wrong about all this? And then you read the next story and you assume that they made no mistakes.
Oh, wow, weird.
They made no mistakes over here. They made a ton of mistakes here where I happen to know the truth. People have always been this way. So,
I think you can also watch people messing up in particular areas.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, actually, this person is bad at history. You know, like they may be fine at other parts of their life, but
but probably not. They're probably bad at everything. They're probably bad at math. They're probably bad at cleaning a bathroom. People who are bad at stuff are bad at stuff. People who pursue excellence and are good at stuff tend to be good at stuff. And there's, there's absent-minded professors who can be really, really good at research and bad at shaving. That happens. But as for normal humans, not for people way off on the spectrum of savant, for normal humans, if you're good at stuff, you're good at stuff. And it just it carries across. So a guy who's really, really good at history, like clear thinking and rational, will probably buy a better lawnmower than you. He'll probably choose a better product. Now, you can have disassociation and people who are like really academic and they're terrible at everything else. Doesn't mean they're good at changing their own oil. Yeah. Because they're good at something intellectual. But they do want it changed correctly. And so, it is really funny. And people who are bad at anything, you can expect there to be a lot of other places where mediocrity gets into everything and failure gets into everything and success gets into everything. So, it is interesting. But I think the biggest thing about conspiracy theories right now that matters is God's in charge. He hasn't lost his grip. He's telling a story and he's not telling it to you.
It's not a little whisper where God's like, hey, follow the breadcrumbs and you will figure out why this huge national story actually had a secret.
Yeah.
That only you got.
So there was just a mass, I think it was in St. Peter's, but there was a mass where a guy did a prayer of exorcism. And this prayer of exorcism was written in the 1890s by Pope Leo XIII after he said he eavesdropped successfully on a conversation between God and the devil.
Okay.
It's okay.
Why'd you go to that source?
And like, okay, when you start tracking some things you can track back. So you can actually go dig in the citation. Don't trust Gemini. Don't trust AI at all. It makes crap up. But you can go pull books. You can go be like, where's this come from? Here, it was written in 1890. Here you go. When Pope Leo talks about why.
Micro something.
I think it was the 13th. What isn't it? What's our Pope now?
Man.
Isn't he a Leo?
Yes, he is.
I'm like, is he a 13th? I don't remember. He's not 13th.
I gotta check.
Either way, I could be totally wrong about that. Don't believe me.
Sorry, we're Presbyterians, and so we don't know. Leo the 14th. Yeah. 14th is current. Yeah.
So there we go. Anyway, I think it was the last Leo who said he overheard this conversation, so wrote this prayer.
Did you ask him? Yeah, we got to ask him what he was consuming before he had the conversation.
Yeah. What happened? Cinnamon. Cinnamon before he slept. Used to give my daughter terrible nightmares. Anyway, the point is God's in charge. Not one sparrow falls. Look to the flowers. Look how God clothes them. Basically understand that there's this massive symphony being conducted there's this huge epic story being told, and you are not the audience. You are not the person who gets full access to everything. You are a freaking extra, like way in the back. And this is being told to glorify God. And this is the Father honoring the Son honoring the Father, the Holy Spirit being honored and honoring. This is that triune storyteller and audience telling his story. And we get to be part of it, and we get to see parts of it. But if you want to understand what's going on in Nigeria right now and what's behind it all, what really happened in Iran, what really happened in Ukraine, sorry, you're an extra. Get to the back.
Yeah.
Get to the back. We need you making bologna sandwiches in the back. That's your part of this art.
Yeah.
Do it really well.
Yeah.
Be great
And
at
you
that.
might get to make more for more
Go provide for
people.
your family.
Yeah.
Go feed them great stories. Go love your kids. Go love your wife. Like, go take care of your responsibilities. Stop being such a retard in terms of the wildly inflated ego that it takes to think that you should be sitting on a throne to adjudicate these things. Not even the angels get to adjudicate these things. These things will be adjudicated by Christ. He sits on the throne. He is the man who will judge angels, not us. We are not the men who will judge angels. He's the man who will judge angels. Do your job. Don't keep trying to look at the homework of archangels and the Messiah. Look at yours. And I would say also, whenever you hear people saying things about the Jews, just tell them it's much, much worse than they think. Because there's a Jew who bought the whole world. Bought the whole world in exchange for some blood. And he sits on a throne at the right hand of the creator of the universe himself. And he runs this joint. And he hired 12 apostles on 12 thrones. And he hired only Jews. He's a Jew. Actually, right now, a Jew, infleshed, incarnate, a Jew on the throne, running the world, hired 12 apostles, all Jews, not one goy. None of the Gentiles got hired to be apostles, all Jews. So they're running this joint.
That's way worse than the USS Liberty.
This is way worse than like, where's the gold in Fort Knox? This is way worse than any of that. No, it's actually running the universe, the whole thing. The 12 apostles and the Messiah who owns everything, bought it all with his blood, defeated death. Those Jews are running this place.
Yeah.
Any lesser Jews who think they're running this place with banking, they've got no idea. They don't know what's going on. All the little conspiracy theory nuts and all the conspiracists who are actually doing things. Nothing's really in secret. It's all seen by the judge. He's going to judge justly.
Yeah, and all our dispensational forebears, similarly. We're all a big mess of the story.
Yep. All the funny little extras running around, whizzing around like honeybees. Just trust God to do his job and you do yours.
This is not quite as wonderfully optimistic as that, but this is a little less serious. So the Coke conspiracy theory, that Coke changes the recipe.
Yeah, sure.
The CEO said, the truth is we're not that smart and we're not that stupid. And that was his answer to whether Coke changed the recipe in the 80s sometime and made it taste worse. And I thought that was a great lesson for all of us. We're not that smart. And we're not that stupid either.
And never attribute to malice what could be explained by stupidity.
Yeah. Solid ones.
Yep.
We don't need lizard people.
No, we have lizard people.
Yeah.
So people are lizardy enough without us needing to actually bring in actual lizards.
Right.
So
I think it makes sense. It does seem like also they haven't read much history.
Right.
Because, for you to be shocked that when the NSA says it wasn't spying on people, it was. Or when
the referees in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right.
I mean, what have people always done for money? People don't like leaving things up to chance. Powerful people with lots of money do not like leaving things up to chance. Referees who get paid six figures.
Didn't most of the NBA referees come from the same spot in New Jersey? That's not a good place to be from if you're.
Don't they all have the same uncle named Vinny?
Doesn't the ESPN
I don't
get
know.
insane amounts of
I
money
don't
from
know. And
ESPN Bet?
Yes, and also not my homework.
Yeah.
Just isn't my homework at all.
Yeah.
And I can watch it and be like, will I be totally disillusioned if there's corruption? No, I'll be pleasantly surprised if there's not. I mean, it's humans.
I think I'm more optimistic than that. I like to think that all of the sport is pure. No
It's-
doping has ever happened in our sport.
Nothing has ever happened. Nobody has ever cheated.
Right. Yeah.
Especially not for really big sums of money or gold medals.
Especially not our guy Chauncey, former T-Blazers, you know?
Chauncey.
My favorite was that he was supposedly literally working with the mob
Yep.
on poker games,
Scamming.
scamming
He
rich
was the
guys
NBA
with
celeb bringing guys in to get fleeced on the scam tables.
That's a tale as old as time. That should have gone in one of these pitches. It writes itself.
It should be a pastor, and then it should go into one of these pitches.
Yeah, there we
It's
go.
a mega church pastor who has a poker game with the mob.
And he started it, when he was just a youth pastor. And he's kept it on.
Just kept on going. Anyway, the gist is, of course, there's corruption. Of course, there's conspiracy. Of course, they're not going to tell us the full story. Why would they? But more than that, of course, God wouldn't tell you the full story. Like he'll show you. He'll give you what you need for your job.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. And as far as you have to trust people, because you're going to go buy this product and not that product to feed your family, you have to pick somebody to trust. So trust the people don't trust the people who have just finished lying to you and been caught.
Yeah.
Trust the people who told you the truth a minute ago and start there. But ultimately, even then, offer that trust up to God and pray that he'll take care of you and you won't feed your family poison and,
Yeah.
I
mean,
thank him for your daily bread.
And maybe you are eating too many Twizzlers,
Possible. Could cut down on your red 40 just a little bit.
My kids do go crazy once they eat a whole thing of Twizzlers.
That's only because of the dye.
There we go.
Yeah, sugar is a conspiracy. There's a book about it.
Yeah, birds aren't real.
So birds aren't real. That's actually where we're ending. Birds aren't real, but lizard people are.
You've heard us be correct before,
Yeah, once. We've been correct at least one time.
so now we
Trust
offer
us.
you.
Trust us, birds are not real. This has been episode 201.